always loved the solitude of the outdoors, that crisp, untouched feeling of being truly alone in nature. It's the only place where I can think clearly. A few months ago, I decided to spend a long weekend exploring the Ouachita National Forest in Arkansas. I'd never been, and the thought of roaming a lesser-known part of the forest sounded like the perfect escape. I arrived just before dusk on a Friday evening and parked my truck off a narrow, barely marked dirt road. I had done some satellite scouting ahead of time and found what looked like an old, overgrown trail that cut deep into a dense area. That was the plan. Hike in, find a clearing, set up camp, unwind. As I walked deeper into the woods, the trees seemed to lean closer together, their limbs brushing against each other in the breeze. The sound of the world faded away with every step I took. No birds, no wind, just the crunch of my boots on the underbrush. It was unsettling, but I chalked it up to the thick canopy overhead. I'd gone maybe 2 miles in when I found an odd break in the trees. It wasn't a natural clearing. It looked almost like someone had deliberately cleared the space. A ring of stones sat in the center, blackened from past fires. Something about it felt wrong. Still, I was tired, so I set up camp a little ways off, keeping my fire small and my gear close. That night, I was jolted awake by a sharp snapping sound, loud, close. I sat up, heart pounding, and listened. Nothing. Then another snap, but this time farther to my left. I grabbed my flashlight and scanned the woods. Nothing moved. No eyes reflected back at me, but I felt something, a presence. The air felt heavier, like it was pressing down on me. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. Morning couldn't come fast enough. I packed up and started back toward my truck, wanting nothing more than to leave. The trail seemed off, though. The trees looked different, almost like they'd shifted overnight. The forest didn't feel familiar anymore, even though I had marked my way back with ribbons. That's when I noticed one of my markers had been moved. It was tied around a tree on the wrong side of the trail. I know I hadn't done that. I turned slowly, and that's when I saw it. Another ribbon, fluttering maybe 50 feet deeper into the woods, one I definitely hadn't placed. I should have ignored it, should have kept walking, but I didn't. I stepped off the path and followed the trail of ribbons. There were more, bright red, just like mine, but placed too high up, far out of reach. The forest grew darker the farther I went, and soon I stumbled into another clearing. This one was worse than the last. A crude wooden structure stood in the middle, like a twisted totem made of branches and torn clothing. Around it, a circle of animal bones carefully arranged. I froze. My breath caught in my throat. Then, I heard breathing, right behind me. I spun around, no one. But I wasn't alone. The forest, silent all morning, suddenly erupted with movement. Branches cracked to my right, then to my left. I ran. No direction, just away. My legs burned as I ducked branches and jumped roots, ignoring the scratches tearing up my arms. After what felt like hours, I burst out onto the dirt road where my truck was parked. I fumbled for my keys with shaking hands and barely managed to start the engine. As I peeled out of there, I glanced into my rearview mirror. There were figures in the trees, just barely visible between the trunks. Watching. I've never gone back to Arkansas. I don't hike alone anymore, and I don't follow strange markers through the woods, because whatever I found out there, it wasn't meant to be found.